just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to another episode of the Believe in NFL Draft Prospects podcast. I'm Joe DeLeone here with Ryan Roberts. And today we are moving on. Thanks for the cute little wave, Ryan. As always, great introduction into the show. Today we're doing our third defensive tackle pairing. This one's a little bit underwhelming for me, Ryan, admittedly, and we're going to get into that. The pairing specifically is Calijah Kancey from Pitt, and then Jaquelin Roy, or is it Roy? No, it's probably Roy.
That's Roy. It's Roy. Yeah.
Okay.
He's not Canadian, dude. Come on.
I was saying Patrick Roy for so long until somebody corrected me. So
he was a great goalie. Patrick Roy was a great goalie, man. Great
goalie. I wonder if Jaquelin Roy can play any goalie. But
he probably he could stop a puck. I think he's a big guy. He's a big guy, man.
I don't want to reveal anything though, Ryan. I again was just a little underwhelmed by this grouping.
By
one
both?
of them, not by both. I like one of them, and I think he needs to make some physical adjustments. The other one, I'm kind of out on.
Really? That's very interesting, man. So me and Joe don't really talk too much about each of the players before we record, but obviously, we want it to be an organic conversation, but we're texting a little bit about this one, Joe. I think both have redeemable qualities. I agree. I mean, this is definitely a step down from the first two shows. Yeah. There's no doubt, but I still think it's a funky one because we talked about two nose tackles in Keanu Benton and Siaki Ika. We had obviously Jalen Carter and Brian Bresee. And then this one was weird because I wanted to do Calijah Kancey because he has production and he has a name in the draft sphere, but we didn't really have anybody that we were going to pair with him, right? Because there's no 280-pound three techs out there, really.
If he's even 280 pounds.
Well, he's 275 listed, so he's probably not 280 pounds.
So we're going to get into these guys. Before we do, though, I just want to really quickly tell our listeners about Bet Online. I've been betting a lot of baseball lately. I can't stand watching it, so it makes it a little bit more fun to follow. And if you're like me, you're eager for football to come back, but you just want to build up a little bit of bankroll, have some fun, make baseball more interesting, head to Bet Online, find all the latest odds and sports developments, including the NBA, Summer League, Major League Baseball, and the latest fighting news, and even next season's early NFL futures. Head to their website today or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get the bonus and get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Ryan, let's start with Jaquelin Roy. And I'm going to need you to explain to me what he does well besides having long arms.
So you don't like him?
I don't like Jaquelin Roy.
Oh, I mean, see, this whole time I was preparing myself because I thought you didn't like Calijah Kancey because he's small. I thought that was going to be.
I did it. I had a good head fake there. Unintentionally, I had a good head fake.
Well, I mean, you love the big defensive tackles, right? So I was like, oh, he
Roy's not even that big.
He's 6'3", 315. I thought he was kind of a little refrigerator. I don't know.
He's a little So for me, that's my first qualm is a little blubbery. He's got long arms. He's got the length. The length is noticeable.
Yep.
Main reason why I was immediately out on him, he was wearing long sleeves against Alabama. That's a no for me with a defensive tackle. What do you mean? If you're a lineman, you're wearing long sleeves. That's a big no-no. It's a big no-no. That's a Sean Anderson move. He used to wear long sleeves.
What are you talking about right now? we're not evaluating players based upon their choice of wardrobe. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. Can we start though with Jaquelin Roy? Can we just do a little bit of background? So he is a Baton Rouge native. He went to University Lab, which, Joe, I don't know if you've ever seen University Lab, but it's literally on LSU's campus. Literally.
Oh, is it really? That's hilarious.
Yeah. So usually all University Lab players go to LSU if they're worth anything, right? That's usually kind of the easy pipeline there. Although, forget it. I can't say that out loud. I'm not saying anything. Forget it. We'll talk about it after the show.
Okay.
So back-to-back state championships at University Lab. While he was there, top 300 caliber player. He was as high as I believe number 71 on ESPN's top 300, and he was also a 4-star recruit by both 247 and Rivals. So this is a homegrown Baton Rouge kid. Stays in the home state. Obviously, stays in the campus, stays on the campus to go to college. And what does he do well, Joe? So this is my thing with Jaquelin Roy.
Okay.
I think there's upside there. I do. Because I thought that he was very quick twitch for his size. And I thought that at times his hands were pretty nice. But that being said, his hand usage is very sporadic. And there's at times where there's wasted movement, there's wasted hand violence. But there are times, though, where he hits just like a club rip or a quick swim or something like that. And you're like, oh, that's nice. The flashes of Jaquelin Roy, I think, are good. Mm-hmm. But he's a work in progress right now. He hasn't played enough football. I mean, it is what it is. He's 6'3", 315, long arms. I think he's pretty quick twitch. I think his hands have positives to it. But the things I didn't like about him was I thought the hand usage was sporadic. Mm-hmm. And my biggest qualm with him is I thought as a pass rusher, he had a aggressive mentality to rush the passer. I thought fired out of the cannon, got after the quarterback, did some good things in the passing game. When he was just kind of working against run plays, I felt like he was very passive. Like the aggressiveness turned off. Like his switch is not there right now in the run game, which is a little odd for me. So this is an upside player. I don't think he's more than a day 3 football player right now, but I think he has day 2 talent, if that makes sense.
Physically, yes, I understand where you're coming from. The hand usage thing, I made note that I felt like when he was at his worst, it was bad. Like he had no idea what he was doing.
No argument.
The big issue that I had watching him is I just did not get I was underwhelmed by his play strength. Like there were instances where I feel like he came off the ball and was immediately stonewalled. He's a big guy, but doesn't really anchor well against double teams. And I was just watching him get driven back way too easily. And if you have a guy that's going to play a 1 or a 3 tech, he needs to be able to handle double teams. That's what interior guys, it's going to happen a lot in the NFL. And then the other thing too, like there were pass rush reps where if somebody got like a good punch on him, he was getting like popped back. Like he wasn't just getting moved. Like I watched him get completely knocked off his track and taken out of the play. Or if someone was like chipping him, there was one instance, and I watched the Alabama game where he got chipped and he got completely like popped off his track and he was immediately out of the play. Like he was so far away from the play, nothing was going to happen. He wasn't going to get to Bryce Young. I just think that those play strength concerns were noticeable. And we're going to talk about Kancey in a second. I think Kancey's like speed makes up for his lack of strength. And we're going to talk, I don't want to like go too far into it. I'm more willing to buy into what Kancey gave me with that speed. I don't get that same speed from Roy.
See, I didn't get play strength concerns with Roy. I think that there is a mentality concern with Roy. Like I felt like there was a lot of times where he's making contact and he's just kind of on his heels or he's flat-footed. And it's just like, where's the aggressiveness? Because I really do think when it's like an obvious pass rush situation or when he's really gearing back, when he fires out, man, he's a tough dude to counteract. Like he can create some momentum.
But he's not. I feel like he's not doing that a lot, though. Like I feel like there's so many plays where I watch him, it's just like, oh, he's kind of firing out, and then the good reps were good.
Yeah, he seems disinterested against the run to me right now. I don't know if that's
100%.
I don't know, and I don't know if that's a switch that you can turn on necessarily. All I know is that he does have some interior pass rush upside, and that's always a valuable thing. And I will say this: the one thing he does do well against the run is that he maintains a square base at all times. So like I do think that there's flashes of being able to anchor, but to your point, and then to my point also kind of on top of it, he's not a great player against the run right now because I just don't think he's aggressive. Like, because Joe, I don't know if you saw it, but like one game I watched was Central Michigan where Central Michigan just had 2 offensive linemen that were drafted, right? And obviously he's working more against guards and centers, but there's like a couple pass rush reps where like hits a quick club rip, man, and just kind of bends the track a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's a little different for a defensive tackle. So like, I think there's some really nice traits, which is why I said there's redeeming qualities. Is he there yet? No, absolutely not. Should he be in the top 5 defensive tackles in the class? Absolutely not right now.
Absolutely not. Okay, good.
But
there was one source that I saw him as the for some reason Carter wasn't ranked in the defensive tackles. I think they put him at edge, which was weird.
Who?
I forget what. Well, let me pull it up. But they had Jaquelin Roy at like the top. It was PFF was really high on him, which annoyed the crap.
PFF.
No, it was a really weird website. Wait, here, let me pull it up. NFL Draft Buzz, and here was
their site's pretty nice though. I like the aesthetic of NFL Draft Buzz.
This is their rankings. It's very convoluted. Jaquelin Roy 1, Tyler Davis 2, Fabian Lovett 3. Like I just don't.
Is that his seniors? Well, no, it can't be.
It's listed by defensive tackle.
Where's Jalen Carter?
Let me see if he's an edge.
What the hell? That's weird.
I don't even see Jalen Carter.
Maybe
he's not an edge.
Maybe they don't add people to their ranking until they have a preseason evaluation on them or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point.
Praying to God that that's the case because he's not on the.
I was going to say maybe they've only ranked seniors, but Jaquelin Roy's only a junior as well, so he's not a senior either.
Right.
That's
no,
weird.
wait, here it is. Jalen Carter. This is a very convoluted website. We're letting them distract us. Ignore my our conversation about NFL Draft Buzz.
Why? Where are they?
It's just really hard to read the website. Like there's just like the page that it brought me to was not their actual defensive line page. Like I don't know what the hell.
Was it just alphabetically? No, it can't be.
No. Yeah, no, it wasn't alphabetical. They had a really good pass rush grade for him besides the point. I think they had him as the highest graded pass rushing defensive tackle.
I don't have the statistics for PFF because I don't pay for it anymore, but it's I heard that he had a crazy grade against the pass. Like a lot of pressures and I could see that on film, honestly. Like I could see a lot of pressure being made from him as a pass rusher, but it's just the baseline, I think, is not there right now with Jaquelin Roy. But I do think that, again, he was only a sophomore last year, right? Like, we got to give him a little bit of time.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, and I almost wonder, because he's so far behind in his development and with NIL now, is this a guy who should be incentivized to go back? Maybe the advisory board, maybe the advisory board tells him, hey, you're early day 3. My grade for him, though, the traits obviously help him. But that lack of intent, I just get pissed off by defensive and offensive linemen who just don't have that intent to them. So I'm mid to late day 3 for me for Jaquelin Roy.
Wow, interesting. That's very interesting. I
was very underwhelmed watching him.
I would say early day 3 right now as a on-field product, but I would say he's got day 2 upside from a talent perspective. Like that's kind of where I am with him right now. You know who's going to be good, Joe? I know we're not. This is not the 2024 NFL Draft podcast, but did you check out number 0, Mason Smith? Their true freshman D tackle, man.
I heard he's a dog though.
He's like 6'6", 310, dude. He's a freshman. It's nuts. It's nutso.
I gotta peep into him.
Joe, they had he's playing D tackle, obviously at that size, right? He was like 6'6", 300, and then their defensive end Andre Anthony got hurt, and then I think did the other defensive end, Ali Gay, he may have gotten hurt or something and missed the game or something like that. They moved Mason Smith to defensive end at that size, man.
Probably got the length to play that, yeah.
Kid's a freak, man. It's a freak. Can't wait for him.
Speaking of the opposite of a freak, Calijah Kancey, though, this is a really weird. This is a
really
weird about him.
Freakish. Go ahead.
He looks like a fullback, like a really heavy running back. He looks like Eddie Lacy out there playing defensive tackle because he's listed at 6 foot 275. I'm sure Eddie Lacy was 275 at one point. I almost even wonder, is this a 265-pound defensive tackle? He is so freaking confusing to evaluate because I watched this kid and I for a second while I was watching him, and I obviously took the size into consideration, and I'm going to get to that when I give his grade. Yep. But when I took that out, I saw a guy that is quick. He's shifty. He's got really good feet. His play strength isn't there, and because he's so freaking light, he gets popped a lot, like almost as bad as Roy does, if not sometimes worse. He's just getting knocked around because he's so light. But as a pass rusher, I was watching him against Virginia, and he put like a really, kind of a bit of a head fake, a nice hand move, and he just blew past the guard that was trying to block him. This is a mismatch for guards. Like this is a really good player as a pass rusher. Don't get a lot of value as a run defender. And I almost wonder, is this like a sub package guy that you draft and only use on passing downs?
He has been the weirdest evaluation I've had so far this cycle. I mean, honestly, it has been. So last year he made freshman All-American 2 years ago as a redshirt freshman. Last year as a redshirt sophomore, 13 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. So he's a productive football player. He's out of Miami Northwestern, so he's a Miami kid. Like you said, Joe, he's listed at 6 foot 275. How big is he actually? Like, is he 5'11" and some change? Like 265, 270?
That's yeah.
This is where the evaluation process gets really weird, right? Because we would have never seen a defensive tackle at this size profile. Like Aaron Donald is 6'1", 285. He's not 5'11" and some change or 6 foot. Like this would be the new outlier if he was a successful NFL player, right? But on the other side of it, his tape's good, man. Like, it's good film. It's good.
Yes.
Joe, this kid has the best hands of any interior defensive lineman I've watched this cycle. He is just so quick twitch, and he understands how to establish leverage. He has natural leverage, but his hands, man, like he gets people's paws off of him so quickly. And I felt like he was just in the backfield on a play-to-play basis. So I don't know what to do with him, though. I don't know what to do. Because if you're betting on this kid, you are betting on an outlier. You are. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the simple fact that if you're pounding the table, you're pounding an empty table, right? Like there's nobody else sitting at this table that's as big as him. There's nobody else. Aaron Donald makes this kid look like a dwarf. Like I don't know what to do with him, man. I don't know what to do with it. He's got great film. He's got great film.
I think what needs to happen with him, and I wonder how heavy he was when he came in to Pitt. I think what needs to happen with him is he needs to add weight. There's no question about that. He needs to get up to 290, 285. And if he doesn't get to, I know it might slow him down. Like that's a concern for me.
Well, no, I wasn't even going to say that. Joe, he's a redshirt junior already. He's going into his 4th year and he's still that small. That's why I'm worried, man.
I wonder how heavy he is at the start of the season. Maybe he's 285 and there's an argument, a little bit more of an argument to me. For my grade for him, I liked him better than Roy because I got those flashes. And I think if you draft him to be a sub package guy, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Sure.
But if you draft, I think this is a 3rd round, 4th round pick. I think that he has the production and the effectiveness and the dominance, but I would not be willing to put him down on rushing downs on rushing downs until he bulks up a little bit more. He's just too goddamn light.
I don't disagree. And I'm worried about what weight he'll be able to carry even with his frame. Cause like he's a smaller guy, but like, does he look
he's not
like
fat though? He doesn't look fat.
Yeah,
like,
but he's not,
like
but he also
carrying
is
it well.
Yeah. Well, no, he is carrying it well, but he's filled out. Like he's a muscular dude. It's not like he looks like he's skinny, right? Like he's not a slender looking dude. He's just smaller. Like, I mean, it's so tough for me. Cause here's a claim. Ready? Here's how far apart I am here, Joe. He is a second round. He has 2nd round film, but I wouldn't touch him till day 3. I wouldn't. I would not. I don't think I could make myself do it just because I don't know. He's a 4th year player that is 275 pounds, maybe sub 6 foot or 6 foot on the dot. I don't know how I could bet on that guy earlier than that. Like, I don't know how I could. And it's a shame because I'm not willing to make this plunge. There's some guys that are outliers where I'm like, I can make that plunge. I'm completely fine with it. This is a small guy, man. Like this is taking it to a whole other level. Like
he looks tiny on tape too, which is a bigger concern.
But he doesn't never gets blown off the ball. And he's such a frustrating player, man. It's so frustrating. And I did love this film. I did. Like I said, I think it's 2nd round film, but like, how could I buy into him? I don't think I can. I don't think I could buy into him. It's so tough.
I would argue not claiming he's a late day 3 is buying in. Like that's like a safe buy-in. That's like I like him and I would draft him on like a flyer and hope that he works out because he's an outlier, but I'm not willing to go any further than that. I think some people might be stupid and say he's too small. I'm taking him off my board. And I hope that's not the case because he's talented. But I mean, that's kind of where I sit. I think a safe buy-in for me on this guy, because I have to factor into the size, is a mid to late 3rd round pick, maybe a 4th round pick.
You know who everyone's going to compare him to, right?
Not Donald? Poona Ford?
Oh no, they're going to compare him to Aaron Donald. 100%.
You think so? Oh God! But
people are going to try to do it.
He's nowhere near as strong. He's not even close to as strong.
I'm not saying that it should be a comparison. I'm telling you that people are 100% going to make it because he is a player from Pittsburgh who's a smaller kid and he's an outlier and all that good stuff. And people are going to make the comparison. That's all I'm saying is that it's going to happen 100%.
Well, I'm going to throw a fit on Twitter if anybody does. I'm praying they don't.
Well, here's the question, though. Here's the question. Because in order to overcompensate with this type of size, right? We already talked about it. It's outlier size. Needs to be a special athlete. Would you call this player a special athlete? Curious.
I wouldn't call him a special. I don't think he's a special athlete. I think that's a step too far.
Okay.
But his movement skills make up for his size. And I think he's got a good motor. I wouldn't call him a special athlete because then we would be willing to buy into him as an outlier.
I'm going to read Aaron Donald's combine real quick because, again, we're comparing slightly here. At 6'1", 285 pounds, Aaron Donald ran a 4.68. Stupid. 35 reps on the bench, 32 vert, 116 broad, 711 3-cone, which is silly stuff too, man. Like that's a historically stupid athlete for 285 pounds. And I'm not saying that he has to, like, I don't think Calijah Kancey has to be near that, right? Because, like, that is a rare football player. That's a future Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, maybe the best defensive tackle ever.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not comparing him to that. What I'm saying, though, is that Aaron Donald is so successful because, yes, he's strong, but he has overcompensating athleticism, right? Like, he is a special athlete for being a smaller player. Calijah Kancey, I saw a really good athlete. I'm struggling with the man because, like, I think he needs to be a special athlete to be anything higher than anything more than a role player. Because I don't know if he's a starter at the next level. I just don't with that size. It's so troubling to me.
I'm in the same boat as you. I don't want to buy into him as a full-time starter. I think this is somebody take a late third round flyer on and you draft him to be a situational pass rusher. And I think there's value in that. There's value. There's guards that can't keep up with him.
He's an NFL player because he's going to be able to create mismatches. There's no doubt. I'm just talking about, I think this is weird, right, too, because I am about to say something that sounds so weird out loud. He's a 275-pound defensive tackle who's an outlier, but I also think has a high floor. Does that make any sense? Because, like, you would think that would not have a high floor. I think he's going to play in the NFL, and I think he's going to have a role, but I don't know what the ceiling is just because of the size. I think the size limits the ceiling.
I think it makes sense because that statement basically means if he finds a way to play past the limitation, he could be really good. Sure. But realistically, he's probably not going to.
What I mean, this is my thing. When a guy's an outlier, you would think that he does not have much of a chance, right? Like that's what an outlier means. It means you're on the outside looking in. You do not have a big threshold to be a really good player or whatever it is. But I think the opposite of his floor in the NFL. Like, I think that he's going to find a spot. Like, I would be surprised if Calijah Kancey did not have a roster spot in 2023 if he chooses to come out. So it's just a weird player because you would think an outlier would not have a high floor, but I think he does have a high floor. I do. I think that he has a high floor. I just think that the size limits the ceiling a little bit. It's just my opinion.
I think that's a good note to wrap us up on. Folks, at Joe DeLeone, at Rise and Draft, and NFL Prospects Pod, Hack City on YouTube, and subscribe wherever you're tuning in. We'll talk to you later.